Can you hear me, Anastasia?
I can hear you.
All right, I finally got in.
Okay. Sorry if you emailed me, I haven't looked yet. I was uploading the homework from 5B's class, and a lot of them had questions and sort of.
Was that the vocabulary words?
So that was last night's homework. I'm uploading tonight's homework. They have they have 2 assignments for social studies. It's really easy. It's sort of like another letter prompt. And then for English, it's a vocabulary. So there goes the assignment now.
Did you put the spelling words out yet?
I did. They should be up. Have they been posted? Actually, that'd be great if you could tell me if they're not posted.
I didn't see them under assignments.
Really? Okay, let's see if I can find them. They're showing up for me. Let me check on the iPad. Are the rest of you guys seeing spelling words, or did you not see the spelling words as well? It's in Alan and Maybe I should re-upload them just in case.
It'd be under ELA, right?
Right. They'd be under ELA and then files, so they wouldn't be under assignments, but they should be there. Jeez. Yes.
Now all I have is Harriet Tubman and a good reason to look.
Maybe it was a photo. I'm wondering if it didn't upload. I don't know why it would upload on my end. Oh, jeez. Oh, my Lord. These kids. I have to send the password and meeting ID again. Let's see. So did Miss C have any issues today with Teams as I'm doing this?
A little bit at the start, but then it was okay. Are you going to be using Zoom all week?
I'm thinking I'm going to, because my morning was terrible last week and my afternoons are consecutively terrible. They're absolutely terrible, my afternoons. I don't know if it's getting worse in the afternoon, and Jess chatted me a while back and said the same thing was happening with her, that for some reason her afternoons were progressively gotten worse as the time got later. And I don't know why that is, or what that means. But today I had 0 issues with Zoom. I mean, it might be more annoying, but the thing about Zoom is, like, the same link that you used today, Carol, they can use all the time. It's the same link and the same meeting ID for the rest of the year.
Okay.
So, and I posted it on our Teams page. I mean, on our Teams page. I emailed every student, every parent. Everybody should have had access. Like I said, I had no problems with it this morning. I had a few kids who obviously maybe didn't check their email and just sort of rushed into class. They're like, oh, what's the link? And I sent it to them. But other than that, it was really smooth. Teams I'm tired of the booting, the kicking the kids, and then me having to continue to re-admit them into our class. I don't know. I guess I can.
Viviana and Erica, did you get the spelling words from yesterday?
Have you guys checked? Yeah, I posted them Friday. if you can check, there should be spelling words listed under our ELA channel on Teams. It's under our, yeah, ELA, and then it should be under files where you found the Harriet Tubman reading. I don't know if it's maybe only uploaded for me, but if you guys can check so we can.
I don't have anything.
So Eric says he has them. He does not. I don't know. Viviana, I can't hear anything. That's not good. Julian's there. I can resubmit. Oh, geez, you're kidding me. Abril said the vocabulary words are on page 56.
That's the social studies ones.
Right. Oh, yeah. Oh, also for those of you who are here, if you can have your social studies book next to you and your vocabulary words next to you before we start, that would be fantastic. I can re-upload. Maybe I should type them out. I don't know if I still have a picture on here. We're gonna give it one more minute. Hopefully people join us. 6 minutes in, and we are way too empty for my liking. There's not enough of you guys here. So if you are texting anybody from class or in contact, can you please tell them to get here ASAP, please? And thank you. I'm going to just re-upload the spelling words during our break then if I have to, because I don't know if everybody has them. Here we go. Still not that many. I got 1, 2, 3, 14. So low. Okay. Nonetheless, we're gonna get started, guys, because we are wasting time. Once again, if you guys can please join, not 5 minutes after, but 5 minutes before lesson starts, that would be great. I know you might have gone over with Miss C, but if you could just join as soon as possible, that would be great. Even if you join and then shut your camera off if you have to go use the restroom or something. I'd prefer that rather than you guys joining 5 minutes late, because we've already lost 7 minutes of class. I'm probably going to just start beginning at 10:30, even if there's only 2 people in here, just so I can utilize my time, and then I'll just put the responsibility on you all to sort of watch the recording. I know today might have been different circumstances because we switched over to Zoom. Demetrio, you can go ahead and ask.
Can I use the bathroom?
Sure, go ahead. Okay, I have somebody asking me to let them in the meeting, but I have to let them know that we are using Zoom today. Oh my gosh. It never fails. Let's see. Just sending over the link. So can everybody hear me? Thumbs up? Thumbs up, thumbs up. Okay, awesome. So let's get started. I am going to screen share and we are going to, and for those of you who joined late, please have your social studies textbook out and your vocabulary words that I asked you to have for class. And let's get started. Move. I want this bar to move. Okay, perfect. So here is our lovely presentation for social studies today. So let's imagine, let's play this quick game in our brains that we wake up tomorrow and there's no more Wi-Fi, there are no more phones, no more computers, no more televisions or DVD players or Xboxes or PS4s, none of that stuff. There are no more cars and there's no technology of any sort. So I'm talking from microwaves that you warm your food up and ovens to lights, okay? There are no light bulbs, nothing. There's no technology of any sort. So what will we do? I have no idea what I would do. I would probably go crazy. But we would have to resort to the way that Native Americans might have lived, okay? So we might have to make our own tribes. So that's what we're going to talk about. We're going to talk about the first Americans. So open your page to your textbook to page 56 and let's get started, okay? So open up that textbook and have those vocab words out and ready. So the first sort of tribe, remember when we talked about it briefly, we were talking about the different tribes, the different Native American tribes, right? So the first one we're going to talk about are the Hopi, or they're called the Hopiti people, right? They say, I'm Hopiti, okay? So kind of like I would say I'm Mexican, right? They would say I am Hopiti, but I come from the Hopi, or I would come from Mexico, right? And their tribe would be called the Hopi. Let's see, why is my... Okay. Give me 1 second. Let me see why it is that Daniel Salinas cannot join. Apologies, guys. Okay, let's go back to screen sharing. Let's admit Nicholas. So yeah, so we're learning about the Hopiti people, okay? So that's our first tribe we're going to study today. So we're going to study a couple different tribes, but they're going to be really fun. So they are also is also known for being the gentle people, right? Very gentle. So they're a group of Native Americans, and their homes were called pueblos by the Spanish invaders that came a lot later. But that's where we get the vocab word pueblos. So can somebody, whoever it is, to unmute their mic first, tell me what pueblos are. And the sooner you do, the better, so that I don't keep you guys over and we lose time off our break. Go ahead, Vivi.
Pueblo means villages.
Yes, exactly. So they mean villages, or like the apartment style homes. They are the apartment style homes that they were known for, okay? And that's why they called them pueblos. And so they have these apartment style homes, okay? that they built from their hands. Okay, mind that. And they also had to, live. How are we going to survive? What are we going to do to meet our needs? So they started this thing called dry farming. And they did this because they were in the desert. So where the Hopi lived is what is now known as Arizona. Okay. And that's desert. Not a lot of water, not a lot of rainfall. So what they did, and they did this because they lived in areas with the tall mountains, the canyons, and steep mesas. So can somebody tell me what a mesa is? You don't have to virtually raise your hand. Just unmute your mic. So this was homework. What's a mesa?
It's a table.
In Spanish, in our Spanish, right? But what did the book say that the mesa was? What's a mesa?
A mesa is
Hill.
or hill.
It's a hill.
Good job, guys, both of you, whoever that was, sorry. It's a steep hill. Good job, Abril. I know we said it. They're very similar words to Spanish.
Yeah.
That was a good job. Do not feel weird at all. It was good. Okay, so now you know. You'll never forget that mesa does not mean table, even though to you it means table. To them it meant steep hills, okay? Really steep areas. So that's why it was really hard for them to farm, How are they gonna get food? What are they gonna do? They didn't have McDonald's, they didn't have Strax, they didn't have any of that. They had nothing. So they had to figure out a way to go about doing that. So what they did was they built dams and irrigation systems. So I just showed you guys what an irrigation system. You don't really need to know this, but they're man-made canals. So basically, when we use the bathroom, we have pipes, right? Or when we, turn the sink on, we have pipes. The water doesn't just flow out or come from nowhere. They had to literally make this stuff. They had to dig it out. They had to make the, sort of tunnels to let the water flow from one area to another. And it was really impressive, okay? So that's what they did. And then there was the old Oribe. So can somebody tell me what this is? This was also a vocab word. What's the old Oribe? Just unmute yourself. You don't have to raise your hand. Anybody from the vocab homework?
An old Arabi is one of the oldest settlements.
Good, yes, exactly. So this is one of the oldest sort of buildings that the Hopi people had built, the apartment style home. So this is what it is, guys. This is what it looks like. And you could visit there if you went to Arizona. I'm sure they have it blocked off in certain areas. But this is where they lived, okay? And they built this from clay, from their own hands. And that's pretty impressive because I don't even know if I would be able to even think about doing something like that. So let's talk about their life too, right? So everybody had this question, like, how did these people survive, right? How did these tribes survive? What did they do for all of these things? What did they do for fun? What did they do to meet their needs? All this stuff. So they weren't just farmers, but they were builders, right? Obviously, because of those apartments that we just saw. And their homes were made of adobe. And that's not the stuff you use to cook with. Can somebody tell me what is adobe? From homework, just unmute your mic, read from your vocab.
Okay, means
Phoebe, can we let Demetrio get a chance? I know. Thank you for doing it. Sorry. Thank you. You can do it next time, but since we've heard from you, let's give Demetrio a try.
Adobe is a type of clay that they use to build their houses and other parts of the house.
Good, Demetrio, exactly. So basically, I'm sure you guys have all heard of pottery, right? People making pottery or molding clay, right? There's like those, I think it's on TikTok. I follow that one guy who the thing is spinning and he's spinning his hand and it's like there and he's forming the clay, right? I think that went viral. I'm sure you guys have all seen that since you're all on TikTok, your generation. My cousin, he loves clay. He built me this bowl when I was probably like in 8th grade and I still have it. And he made this, he formed it and then he painted gloss over it. And that's A for Anna because that's my name. So basically, that's what they made their houses out of. They made their houses out of really hard clay, and they made a lot of this clay to film these huge, apartments where they would live. And the first floor of their apartments didn't have any doors or windows. So imagine if Julian and Demetrio are sharing a pueblo, right, an apartment-style home because they're part of the Hopi, and they live in the house, but their first floor has no doors or windows. So how they would get in and out of their house is He would say, hey, Demetrio, drop down the ladder. And Demetrio would have to drop the ladder down and he'd climb in. And that's how they'd get in and out of their houses all day. It's kind of like Rapunzel. Rapunzel let down your hair, entangled, and she's climbing up the mom's hair, or the mom's climbing up her hair. That's how it'd be, but with ladders. That'd be the only way you can get in and out of your house, which is kind of insane. Demetria, I see you have your hands up. What's up?
Do you know how they made Adobe?
Sure, yeah. So I don't know if you guys have ever seen those videos. I watch those like late night videos where they show these people like building like random homes. I don't know. Maybe that's my generation's thing. But what they do is in certain areas, certain land, let's say they have access to this like almost like rock. Okay. So what they do is they would peel this rock. Okay. They would break it down. They would add just a little bit of water and it would form clay. It would be like sort of like Play-Doh, right? You can mold it however you wanted after you added water. Then you would mold it to however you wanted and let it dry, and it would stay like that forever. And that's what they would do. They would wet it. They would get all of this like rock. They would pound it down to where it was like dust, okay? Add a little bit of water, and it would turn like Play-Doh. And you could form it like clay, right? And then you can make it look like whatever you want, a box. Or in their cases, they got a lot of water and a lot of pebble, and they made buildings, okay? And then when it would dry, it would harden up to whatever shape they formed. So that's what I'm saying. Yeah, it's pretty crazy to think about it because of how much work it must have taken. So it's insane. So their first floors, they had no access. So that was pretty crazy. And their religion. Let's talk about religion. So can somebody tell me, what are kivas? I know this was a vocab word. What is a kiva? K-I-V-A, kiva. Go ahead, Viviana. You can go ahead and give it to us. Since I cut you off the last time, let's hear what a kiva is. Nope, Viviana doesn't know. Anybody else have access to their vocab right in front of them?
Kivas are round sculptures for
Good.
religious ceremonies.
Good. I don't know who that was, but good job. Alyssa. Thank you, Alyssa. So yeah, it was like a dome almost, kind of like our church. So that's where they went to church, in these big round domes that they built out of adobe as well. So imagine if we also built our church from hand. Once again, that would be insane. So that was, yeah, and that was sort of how they did their art as well. They made beautiful pottery, like the bowl I showed you from my cousin. That was something they did in their free time. So also keeping going with religion, what is a kachina? Can somebody tell me what kachina is? Somebody who hasn't spoken yet. Sophia, Eric, Alan, Jimena, whoever's on Patricia or Patricia. Somebody tell me, what is a kiva, please? Eric, go ahead.
A living spirit of an ancestor.
Okay, good. Yeah. Anybody else want to tell me is that what the book said, Eric? Yeah?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, cool. So yeah, exactly. Kivas were sort of like an ancestor that they sort of reached towards during their ceremonies, okay, their religious ceremonies. So an example would be like Dia de los Muertos, right? We all sort of know what that is, or most of us might know, right? It's like a one day of the year where we make a sort of an offering to the dead. We reach out to the dead. It's sort of their day to walk the land, right? And we maybe leave things for them or something like that. Or we pray to them, or we talk to them, something along those lines. So that's basically what they did as well. But theirs lasted 6 months. So basically half of the year was the non-ceremony, and the other half of the year was the ceremony, which is pretty cool. And during that ceremony, they had dancers. And it was it was an honor to be picked as a dancer. So let's say, using the people I can see here on my screen, Viviana, Demetrio, Alyssa, and Eric and I were all picked as dancers by the leader in our tribe, okay? And they said, you know what, we're gonna have Viviana be the biggest honor. She's gonna be our crow mother, okay? She has to do the most special dance. We basically worship at her feet for this whole entire time. Then I'm going to have Demetrio and I'm going to have Alyssa be our clowns, okay? And basically they had clown dancers, and what they did is they acted silly the entire 6 months. They got to play pranks on people. They got to, be clowns basically, and they caused mischief. This was to make the ceremonies more fun, okay? And then Eric and I, we were just the other regular dancers, and we would represent one of the 100 kachinas or spirits that he sort of mentioned earlier. What they would do during these ceremonies is they would give the kids dolls, and this is an example of what the dolls would look like. This is pretty cool. And they would make these by hand, guys. They wouldn't just put them in a factory and have the plastic mold them. These were made by hand. And these dolls were in hopes to teach the children about their land and their culture and their religion and all of that stuff. And this is supposedly what one of the ceremonies sort of look like. And in your book, I think one of the dolls is in the book as well. But this is what they imagine a ceremony would look like. So, does everybody understand? Any questions about the Hopi? So that's just one tribe that we've learned about. Go ahead, Vivi. I see your hand up.
How do they go use like the bathroom?
That's a really, really crazy, maybe gross question, but it's definitely something I know the answer to. So a lot of places where they don't have like plumbing, which we mean, like, but for like plumbing for us is like a sewer, right? And pipes and someone to come fix your toilet. What they would do is they would build a really, really, really deep hole in the ground. And they would say, okay, let's say they made 4 holes. One for pooping, one for peeing, one for pooping, one for peeing. 2 for boys and 2 for girls. And that's how they would use the bathroom. They'd have different areas and they'd say, okay, go use the toilet. And basically their toilet was a hole in the ground, which seems kind of crazy, I know. But that's how they use the bathroom. And if we had, honestly, if that was the way that we lived and we woke up tomorrow and there was nothing, we'd probably have to do the same, which would be crazy. Yeah, crazy to think about. Anybody else have a question? No? Okay. So let's get to our homework, okay? So I will post this, and what we're gonna do is another easy assignment, another sort of letter, okay? But there are a lot more rules to this one, so I need you to pay attention to our homework. So after learning about this tribe, I would like for you all to write a letter from the point of view of a Hopi boy or girl, based on what you have learned today about their tribe, okay? So you will be writing this letter to your friend that does not know about your tribe or what it's like to be a Hopiti. So you can imagine, if it's easier, pretend like you're writing to yourself. So you can say, Dear Demetrio, today in my tribe was the beginning of our Kachina ceremonies. I was picked as a dancer and blah, 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 or I was given a doll, okay? So I want you to do something like that. You want to get it creative. You're going to pretend like you're part of this tribe and you're writing to somebody who knows nothing about it, okay? That's the first thing. It has to be at least 1 paragraph, no less. It could be more if you want, but no less than 6 to 8 sentences, okay? And then on top of it, it has to have to do with what we talked about in class or what your textbook says. I do not want you guys to say, hey, I love my tribe. By the way, I love soccer. Do you love soccer? Soccer is really fun. I score all the goals. Or, hey, I love Fortnite. Fortnite's really cool. I don't want you talking about that. I want you talking about something that we learned, okay? Something about the tribe, whether it's the ceremony, whether you're talking about, you know, hey, I'm building clay and I'm building these bowls, or hey, I'm helping build my home, or hey, there's no rain this week. What are we going to do? Anything, okay? Just something to do with what we learned about this tribe and what it's like to live there, okay? I do not want, I want as best as you can your correct grammar and spelling, okay? If you don't know how to spell everything, that's fine. If you don't know the correct grammar, that's fine. But what I do not want to see is how, like, it's obvious when you guys are hurrying up and doing your assignment and turning it in, and I can tell you're not proofreading, and I'm like, come on, guys. So type your assignment, go back and read it a couple times, make sure it makes sense to the best of what you believe, and turn it in, okay? If it looks like you rushed or your grammar's just not really there, I'm gonna take off points, okay? You might get a 2 out of 5 or a 3 out of 5, depending on how many of these rules you follow. The last one is 0 outside research. I do not want you guys to Google stuff about the Hopiti tribe, okay? I don't want you Googling it or researching it or anything like that. I want you to do it based off of what you learned in class, in my slideshow, and what the book tells us, okay? I also don't want you copying exactly what the book says, okay? Use your own words, really think about it, make sure you understand what you're saying. This slideshow that we did right here, this one, I am going to post it on Teams so that you can go back and look at it if you need to, okay? But don't forget, everything I put on the slideshow, I got from your book, Okay, I just made it easy and for you guys so you can have notes. It's due tomorrow. And lastly, I need you to send it to me under the assignments tab on Teams. Okay, so when you go to Teams, right here, it's going to be listed here. If you do not send it to me here and you're sending it to me on the email and stuff or in the chat, I'm going to have to give you a 0 because with Miss C, the first week of classes, she taught you guys how to do it. All of last week, I taught you guys multiple times how to do it. This week, I'm sort of expecting you guys to be able to upload your assignment. There are a few of you who I have special sort of circumstances with. I know that you've tried to upload your assignment and I can never see it, so you have to send it to me through chat. That's fine. If you really don't know how to do it, please go to our YouTube channel. The YouTube channel, you can find it on our Teams page again in files and rewatch, okay? Please rewatch one of the videos. If you go to the YouTube channel here, let's see. Did somebody edit this? Somebody edited this. I can't with you guys. Let's see. I know I posted it. Let's see. Here, if you click on our YouTube channel, I also explain in these videos how to upload an assignment. Rewatch it if you have to, okay? I want you guys to upload it under the assignments tab in Teams, okay? It's literally right here. All you have to do is click assignments, click here, and right here there'll be a paper clip that says turn in, okay? That's where I want you to turn in your assignment. Any other questions you can ask me. You guys can go ahead and take your break if you don't have questions. If you have a question, go ahead and unmute your mic and let me know what you need. Anybody else who doesn't have a question, you can go ahead, shut off your camera, mute your mic, go take a break, do what you gotta do. So Eric and Viviana, you have your hands up if you have questions you can ask. Nope, okay. So we'll come back at 11:15 for ELA, okay, for our English. So don't leave, please. It has been a long morning. Carol, was I sharing my screen?
Yes,
Okay, during the slideshow as well, correct?
yes.
Okay, I'm just making sure.
I still can't find those spelling words.
Okay, I'm gonna post them now again. I'm assuming that, I think some of the students said they can. Maybe, I don't know if some of them can't. I can repost them. I'm just gonna upload this assignment first before I forget. This is 5A.
Can you see me on Zoom?
I can see you.
Oh, okay, then I'm not gonna. I did my social studies homework, the vocabulary words.
Thank you. I'm telling you, the difference between 5A and 5B is,
Oh, which one's worse?
it's not that either is worse. It's just that one is like, my 5B class is almost like I can't get them to stop talking or like stop participating, you know?
Is that
And
the
then-
class Marie had?
I'm not sure. It's like maybe it's like, let me see who's in that class. Gabriel is in that class. Ureli.
Oh yeah, oh yeah.
And Julius GB.
Let me explain. Are there any other kids online right now?
They're all online, so they can hear us.
Oh, okay. That's because they got away with it in class with their teacher.
Oh, okay. Okay. That makes sense. But I mean, it's not necessarily terrible because like you said, I mean, sometimes I'm like, hey guys, you gotta cut it. Let's stay on topic. That's probably the hardest thing.
That was the hardest thing because they would never stay on topic.
Yes,
They liked to talk about everything else.
yes, that was sort of the issue I was battling today. I felt I don't want to sound rude, but at the same time I'm like, hey, you guys, you got to stop talking because I get it. It's fun. We have time after class, sure, but you're like making me behind. You know what I mean? They're pushing me behind because they're talking. But participation wise, it's great because I feel like they can't wait to talk. So like when I ask like even about vocab, I mean, I have like 4 kids I'm muting at the same time. As in comparison to this class, I feel like I'm like, oh, come on, give me something, participation wise.
Well, these are the kids that had Dawn, and Dawn was more structured.
Yeah, maybe that's what it is too. I think that could be it. I think you might be correct on that one. But I have a question. So who are the fourth grade teachers? I know now we have
Dawn
Logan and Dawn.
and the new girl, I think her name is Rachel.
Right. Okay. Let me get
I can't wait till we go back to class. I'm
I
so
can't
tired.
deal with this. I hate doing the switch back to Zoom because I don't know if it's throwing kids off.
No, my next door neighbor, she teaches at St. John the Baptist in Whiting, and she's got some kids in class and some kids doing remote learning, and she says she's finally just starting to get that down pat. But she says, yeah, she likes it better than just doing all of them virtually because it's just too hard.
It's so hard, and it's hard to accommodate everybody. Some kids genuinely truly preferred Zoom because I don't know if it worked with their internet provider better or what it was, but it was for some, and then others are like, it's just too confusing. And I'm trying to, accommodate everybody and make it as easy as possible. But I feel like, if I'm doing it for some, then it's making it harder for others, and I can never find a good balance. And then, I'm getting told that I need to hold these kids to a sort of standard of responsibility.
Oh yeah, because there was no, like I said, no structure last year at all for the one class.
Yeah. I don't want to ask too much of them, like even regarding uploading assignments. But I know I genuinely can tell like that some students are just don't want to, So they're just like, oh, I'll just email it or share it,
Well, see, a lot of them never turned in assignments last year.
Yeah, maybe that's what it is too.
And she would kind of let them slide. I graded all the homework, and she'd always give them like an extra day. I could understand if they were absent, you can give them extra time.
Right.
But not if they were there and they just didn't do it.
Oh no, yeah, absolutely not. Because I don't know if did you know Miss Domsich? She was my 5th grade teacher when I went to St. Catherine's. No.
Yeah, I was only there. Last year was my first year.
Oh, okay. She was just not somebody that you wanted to play with. Like, I couldn't imagine missing an assignment in her class and then on top of it getting an extra day. It was just that's not the way that it worked. And I don't really plan on running this class that way either because I don't know. Even if the kids might find it, whatever, which way, they're kids. They don't understand that if they don't do their homework or they don't, it's going to negatively affect them. It's not going to hurt me.
And Matt still hasn't found a permanent teacher yet?
Not that I'm aware of. Not that I'm aware of, no. So I would feel terrible. It's a really rough situation for the kids to have sort of been getting used to me, you know, and the way that.
Well, it makes it hard because this class in 3rd grade, they had like 3 or 4 teachers.
Right. That's what I've heard. That's what I've heard, that they have quite the history of having a teacher and then that person just leaving.
So this is not helping them at all.
I know. And you know what's, like, not that it's funny, but I actually had the exact same experience when I was at St. Casimir. When I was in 4th grade, I had Dawn Wagaman. That was when she was Miss Evans, but I had Dawn. She had gotten pregnant, so we had gotten, I think she was pregnant with Lily. Or was it Nathan? No, it was Nathan, actually, her older brother. And we had a student teacher. And then 5th grade, we had Miss Domsich. And then we got to 6th grade. And that was when Mary Ann was teaching 6th grade. And she had to go on leave. So we had another student teacher. And then it happened my 8th grade year as well. Miss Rokas had gotten in a sort of accident. She wasn't in class, and we had to have a student teacher. And that happened every other year after. It was terrible. It was terrible. So when Matt told me about this class, and he said the same thing that you did, that these kids have dealt with something like that, I was like, oh my gosh, I know exactly how that feels. I hated it. I absolutely hated it. It was so hard. It was so difficult. You have how can you have structure if you have no if you don't have a permanent teacher? So I do hope that.
I still don't have the spelling words.
Okay, yeah, I'm trying to find the page which I had them. I wrote it down, but I don't know why it's not on my lesson plan. I'd taken the picture, but I deleted it because I thought it had uploaded. I should have it within the next couple minutes. Let me see. This teacher's edition of Wonders is ridiculous. Have you've taken a look at it, correct?
Yeah, yes.
Isn't it insane? Miss Foy and I couldn't believe how much they expect us to sort of go through with the kids. It is all over the place, and everything's so out of order. Where did she put it?
Now, do you also record the Zoom meetings?
Yes, so I'm recording this one now. And then I will be able to upload it the same sort of way that I had been Teams. That's the real question. Here we go. 20 years later. I'm going to type these up really quickly. Should not take me long.
The problem Jess was having today too is that none of the kids could chat.
That
It
happened
said-
to me on Friday and I think Thursday. The students
they're
were like,
thinking somebody,
go ahead.
yeah, they thought, well, maybe I turned it off, and I said, I don't have the authority to turn it off. I'm not a
host or whatever.
no, I'm a student.
Yeah. No, that's what it was this class. It was 5A and it was 5A, but our English class in teams last week, and they said the same thing to me. They said that I had shut off chat or something and that they couldn't chat. I'm like, I didn't shut off anything. I know I didn't shut off chat. So that was what was happening to me too. So let me re-upload this document version and call the kids back. Guys, if you could return to your computers so we can get the lesson started. I'm just uploading our why isn't it working? So Miss Carol, if you want to check if the spelling words are posted for you again. And I'm going to make sure I'm going to post them to Vibe B as well.
Oh, come on.
Okay, guys, let's get started. So if you could please put your cameras on, those of you who have them, so we can begin. I would like to see faces, not gray screens that say your names on them.
It still isn't in there.
It's not.
No.
It's under files. It's no longer a chat. It should be there. I can screen share it, but this time it should be there. There's no reason for it not to be. Let's see.
Oh, I got it now.
You got it? Okay, there's only 10 words. It's really short. It's there now.
Yeah, it's there now.
Okay. So yes, guys, don't forget, for those of you who may not have been able to see our spelling words, our test is still on Friday. Let me move this bar first. You would be able to access it through Teams. Oh, why? Teams. ELA. Make sure you're clicking on this ELA channel, guys. And in files, there's a document that says spelling words. I just deleted the picture because I guess it wasn't showing up for some of you all. Or for some of you, I don't know why I said all. Here are the words. There are 10. We've got jut, cot, stump, tough, laugh, rough. So we're really testing this uff sound right here. Reminding you guys that GH can also make the f sound. We've got scent, stuff, damp, and batch. Okay? So make sure you copy those words down if you have to. Eric, don't worry about it. I see you trying to do it really quickly. You can access it later, okay? Don't write too fast. You'll hurt your hand. So just make sure you take a look at those later, okay? And go over them every day, practice, maybe have mom or sister or grandma, whoever you'll have with you. Or like I said, you can start your own Zoom call and practice with each other and say, hey, Eric, spell tough for me really quickly, okay? Practice like that. So let's get started with ELA. If you can please open your book. I want you guys to have the book open that has the one sort of little, what is this, like a moose or I don't know, a reindeer on it. Open the one that says reading and writing. Have that next to you. Maybe a notebook and a pencil if you need to make notes. Have this next to you, okay? Not the one with two. Or it's like the squirrel is on the first page. I just need the one that has the one. The reading and writing workshop. And let's begin. Yes, good job, Eric. That's the one. Is that the one? Is there a squirrel on that one? Okay. So every day for ELA, we're going to start with a warm-up. So I would like for you guys to correct this for me. Whoever wants to do it first, just unmute your mic. There are 2 errors, so only one person per error. So I want 2 people to talk. I don't care who it is. Tell me what the first error is that you see.
The I in the beginning isn't capitalized.
Sure, who was that? Make sure you say your name too so I can say thanks.
Alyssa.
Good job, Alyssa. Okay, Alyssa is correct. So the first I needs to be capitalized for the beginning of the sentence. I went to the park yesterday. What is the next error?
The period in the last word.
Good job. Who was that? Alan? Was that you?
Yeah.
Okay, good. Yes, so we need a period here. So that was it. So basically it's just the capital I and the period. So make sure that you are looking out for errors like that. That's stuff that you'll probably get tested on in the future. And yeah, so let us begin. Today we are going to talk about the things we need and how we meet needs, okay? So if you open page 50, no, I'm sorry. Open page 19 in your textbook. That is the page that we want to look at. Let's see, let me open it on mine. Mine is a little different. Okay, yeah, so you should have a picture of a person with like a basket on their back and a sort of cap in their head, and they're looking at a field, okay? So what we're going to talk about is meeting needs. So how do we meet these needs? How do we get the things that we need, such as food, water, clothing, housing, whatever it is? So let's talk about savings. So some people might have savings, okay? And basically what savings are the money or supplies or maybe both that they put aside for times when resources are scarce. Resources are scarce. Scarce meaning things that are hard to find. So our example, let's bring in our lovely social studies Hopi tribe, right? So we talked about how they were from the desert and the way they farmed was dry farming. They needed water to farm, right? To grow plants, you need water. So for them, water was scarce, okay? It was really hard to find. It only rained like maybe 4 times a year. So that's not a lot at all. They didn't have any access to a lot of water. So what they might have done is they might have saved water. So maybe, I don't know, when they built their clay bowls, maybe they built clay like pails. What are they called? Big buckets. And when it rained, likely what they did was they put as many buckets as they could outside to collect the rainfall and carry these buckets and put them in a house or a pueblo, their apartment style like home, and that would be where they stored all of their water. That was their savings, okay? They had a savings of water so that when, you know, during the months where it didn't rain for however long, they had at least had water to wash themselves with or to build houses or whatever they had to do, okay? Does that make sense? So in that example, the water was scarce. That's another word to say hard to find, okay? Hard to come across. It was rare almost. And savings is basically the things that you do. So in modern times, what we might do is we might have savings of money. So let's say Viviana, absolutely, like it's imperative. It's so important that she goes to Disney World. She has to go to Disney World. So what she might do is every day she might set aside, let's say she has an allowance, she does her chores. She might set aside all her money. She's not going to buy anything in the meantime, no snacks, no video games, no money towards anything. She's going to put it away in her sock drawer in an envelope. She's going to keep putting it there. And then by the time it comes to, let's say, a couple of months, she's going to have a couple $100. And that's going to be her savings. She's been saving that for something, for a goal, a need of hers. Let's say Eric says, Mom, I'm moving out. I'm getting my own apartment right now in 5th grade. He's done with school. So what he might do is he might start a savings. And what is the savings for? He needs a home, okay? I'm sure Eric has a lovely home where he is. But let's say he just decides, Mom, I'm tired of doing homework and going to school. I want to move out and get my own house. So he needs a home. He might have a savings to help him buy his new home, okay? So that's what happens when that's how a savings could be used to buy homes, to buy vacations. You all know that I want to be a lawyer, right? I want to be a lawyer very badly. That's what I'm going to be probably, right? But I have to go to school for it. And school is not cheap, especially law school. It's about $60,000 for 1 year, and I have to go for 3. That's $180,000. You can buy a house for that. You can buy a lot of things with that kind of money. So what I'm doing every time I get paid from teaching you lovely people is I'm putting aside money into a savings account, into a bank account. And that savings is going to help me pay for my law school, okay? Or let's say I work. Well, obviously I work, but during the summer, as you guys know, we're not in school, right? And so if I'm a teacher, I'm not going to get paid because I'm not working during the summer. So I know from the month of May to the month of August, I'm not going to have any money coming into my bank. During that time, money is hard to find. It is scarce, okay? So what I might do is when I'm getting paid from December to February, I might put aside however much money I can to save up, to get savings, so that in the summer, I can afford to buy food and I can afford to pay my rent, okay? So that's another way that people have savings. So let's quickly read page 19 together. I'm going to read it out loud. I just want you guys to go ahead and look at your book and read along with me. If I'm reading too fast, that's only because I don't want us to run out of time for class, okay? So let's get to it. So what do we need? So from the time we get up in the morning to the time we go to sleep at night, we need things to help us survive, right? We need water, food, shelter, all of that stuff. So we meet these needs in a different way, in a bunch of different ways. So we might find water, build shelter, or weave clothes are some of the ways we meet our needs. This woman in the picture here with that cool basket on her back is meeting a need by harvesting rice, a food upon which millions of people depend. So, like I said, kind of when we were talking about the whole PD tribe, right? Not everybody has access to McDonald's or grocery stores like Aldi and Shrek and Mantil. They don't have food just anywhere they, when they leave their house, they might not just have food. So what they do is they put on their hat, they get their harvesting tools, they put on a backpack of whatever sort. This lady has a cool basket, and they go out into the fields and they harvest and they find food and they bring it back to their families or to their own homes, and that's their food for the week, let's say. So that's how people meet their needs. Everybody meets their needs differently, and everybody has different needs, right? So in this picture, this lady is going out to find rice so she can feed her family, which is pretty cool. So what we're talking about up next. So like we said, individuals and different communities have different ways of meeting their needs for food and for shelter and for clothing, right? So the whole PD tribe, tribe had to go out and find this pebble to add the water in to make the clay, right? And that was how they built their homes. They also probably had to learn how to sew and find materials from trees or leaves to make their clothing, okay? So everybody has to find their ways differently. Us, we could just go to Walmart if we want to get a t-shirt. Or we can go, if we want to sew our own t-shirt, we can go to Joann Fabrics and get the sewing stuff and sew it ourselves. Maybe we have moms or dads or siblings or family that have sewing machines and they don't know how to make clothes. So everybody gets their things differently, okay? So today we're going to read a short story about a girl who shows people how they can meet their different needs and what it looks like to have different needs. Needs might not always be physical things, like food and stuff. So before we start, I want to tell you guys what the genre of the story is. So before I tell you this, let me explain what the word genre is. So that's this word right here. It sounds fancy, but it's spelled G-E-N-R-E. And you know how you guys watch Netflix, right? Or you watch TV, and it says different genres, right? So let's say Viviana loves romance movies. That's her favorite, okay? And Eric loves comedies. He loves to laugh. Me, my favorite of all time is scary movies. I love scary movies. And let's say Miss Carol loves mysteries, okay? She likes thrillers. So we all like different genres, right? Those genres are basically different types. So the genre that Vivi likes is romance. The genre that Eric likes is comedy. The genre Miss Carol likes is murder mystery. And the genre I like is horror, okay? So a genre is basically a different, is a type, okay? So the type of story we're gonna read today is called realistic fiction. So it's not a true story, but it could be. And that's what it means by realistic. So it tells about events that can happen in real life. It could happen to you, it could happen to me, it could happen to anybody. It presents characters that are kind of true to life. They remind us of, real people. And it has dialogue, so it has conversation, and it has descriptive details. So the details that they say in the story, provide in the story, it makes it really easy for us to imagine these things happening in our head, okay? So what I want you guys to do is turn to page 20 in your book, please. Because, you there, Demetrio? Because before we begin the story, there's going to be some words that they use, okay? They're going to use words in this story that we don't necessarily know yet. So that's why we got to take a look at these words first. So open your book to page 20, and let's get started. Let me open my book to the vocabulary. So, on my screen, you will see all of the vocabulary words that you also see in your book. We have afford, loan, profit, prosper, risk, savings, scarce, and wages. So what I did was I began what we're going to do throughout the year, which is called define, example, and ask. So basically, you will define the word, pretty basic. You will give an example of the word, and then you will ask a question. So I did loan. So let's do it. Let's try it out. So if you have a loan, then your money is borrowed. So let's say, I say, Demetrio, I need the new PS5. I need it, okay? I need it so bad, but I don't have the money for it. Can you give me some? And he'll say, sure, I'll borrow you this money, but you better pay me back by the end of the month. And I'll say, okay, that's fine. So he gave me a loan, okay? He borrowed me money, but I still have to pay him back. Let's say afford. So basically, I couldn't afford the Xbox. I did not have enough money to pay for it, or the PlayStation, sorry. I didn't have enough money to pay for it. So I had to ask him for money. So to be able to afford it, it means you're able to pay for it. So maybe you've heard that word before. Maybe you've heard your parents say, if you say, Mom, I really want to go to Disney World right now, they might say, Abril, we can't afford that, okay? Who can afford to pick up whatever they want and go to Disney World? Maybe really rich people. That'd be really cool. But that takes a lot of planning, right? It takes savings. It takes all of that stuff. Big trips usually take stuff like that. Most people can't just up and go unless you're like really famous and rich, like Justin Bieber or something, okay? So that's what afford means. You have enough money to pay for something, okay? A loan means that you're borrowing money. So who wants to guess what profit is? You might have it in front of you in your book. So somebody tell me what they think the word profit means. Somebody, anybody, just take a guess.
When you spend less on something and make more for it.
Good. So whoever iPhone is, if you cannot sketch, that would be great. But yes, exactly. So let's say that Julian is opening a business, okay? He's going to open his new store. And he became a part of the Hopi tribe, okay? He's a Hopiti, okay? And he loves pottery and clay, and he builds these bowls. He starts to make these, okay? And he doesn't have to get a loan because he can afford to start his own business. So he can afford it. He buys a building right here in Whiting, and he sets up his shop, and he makes, let's say he makes 10 of these bowls. And it's opening day, and we might ask, okay, how much did it cost for Julian to open this business? Let's just say in some magical world in which we wish all businesses only costed, let's say it only costed him $10 to open this business, okay? And to make the pots, the little bowls. Let's say it only took him $10, okay? So then he has 10 bowls for sale. And he makes $2 from every bowl, and he sells all of them. It's a huge success, his business. So that means that he has 10 bowls for $2. He made 20 bucks, okay? And it only cost him 10 bucks to start this business. So At first he lost 10 bucks, right? He's investing. He's sort of hoping that his business does well, and it does. And he makes 20 in the end. So you would subtract the 10 from the 20 because that's how much it cost him to start. And he made 20 and it cost him 10. So you take away the 10 from the 20 because you have to subtract how much it costed you, right? Because you lost that money. But you still made 20. So in the end, his profit is $10, okay? That's how much he made without having to, with accounting for the money it took for him to invest in this business, for him to start the business, his business costs. So that's what profit means. Profit is the amount of money you have left after all of your business costs have been paid, okay? So let's think about somebody who maybe made a big profit. So let's talk about Fortnite, because that's my specialty, or even TikTok, okay? Let's say this person who made this app or this game said, okay, I only have $200. I'm going to invest all of my money into buying a computer to make this game or make this TikTok app. And I hope people use it. Let's just hope. And we're sitting here and we're waiting and we're waiting. And then boom, overnight you have everybody in the whole world watching TikTok, downloading the app. You have everybody in the whole world downloading Fortnite and playing all night and buying the battle pass and buying skins and buying whatever it is, okay? You have a lot of people who love the thing that you created. So now all of that $200 that you put into making that business is gonna turn into millions of dollars. These people are making a lot of money because a lot of people love what they created, okay? And they're making a big profit. They put $200 in and maybe they lost $200 when they started, but they're making $2 million now. So their profit is huge, okay? So basically the profit is how much money you make after you consider or you subtract all of the money you put into making the business. Okay, does that make sense, everybody? Yeah? Okay, so what about prosper? Who wants to take a guess what prosper is? Maybe you've heard go ahead, Demetrio, do well and prosper. Maybe you've heard somebody say that. Who is that talking? Hugo? I can't hear him. Can you guys hear Hugo? Gianni, go ahead, Gianni. Tell us what you think prosper might mean.
Okay.
Where did Gianni go? Okay, Gianni disappeared. Demetrio, what do you think prosper means?
I think prosper means other things helping you.
Okay, that's a really, really good guess. That's a good guess. Prosper basically means when you are doing a good job and you're becoming successful is what it means. So when you prosper, you do really good and you become successful. So the creators of Fortnite, let's go back to the creators of TikTok, right? They invested their money and they ended up doing a really good job, right? They ended up making it big time. Their game is viral. Everybody plays it. They make a lot of money from it. The people who created TikTok, they did a great job. Everybody's on that app. People freaked out when they thought it was going to get banned, right? These people have become extremely successful, okay? They have done extremely well. Let's see. Yeah, or the creator of Roblox. Anybody. Ooh, let's go back. So I'm spoiling things. So these people do really well, okay? They prosper. So that is a good way, that is a good guess, Demetrio. To prosper means to do a really good job and to become successful, okay? So what about risk? Who wants to take a guess what risk means? Who wants to risk? Defining risk. So Demetrio, if nobody else volunteers, I'm going to come back to you, but I want to try and hear from somebody we haven't heard from. Jimena, maybe.
Yes.
Maybe Abril, Eric, anybody, Vicky, Nicholas, Lab9, somebody who hasn't taken a guess.
It means that you take like you're putting to sacrifice like something Like, for example, like in the book, it says firefighters take a great risk when they enter the building. They could take their life for people.
Perfect. Exactly. That's a perfect example, bro. Exactly. So taking a risk is sort of like sacrificing something. The official definition would be is taking a chance of maybe losing something or harming yourself or harming others or something. So let's say your mom is a nurse or your dad is a nurse or somebody that you know is a nurse or works in the medical field. Every time that they go to bro, what did you do to your screen? You have tomatoes behind you. Every time that they go to work, they are risking themselves of getting coronavirus, right? They're taking a chance that they might get sick. And that's pretty scary. They're risking their lives to help other sick people, kind of like firefighters. You could take risks with money. So let's say Demetrio is like, you know what? I'm the best Fortnite player and I am going to start streaming. And Abril is like, okay, I'll invest. He's like, Abril, I need you to buy my camera. I need you to buy my webcam so I can stream. And she's like, okay, fine. I'll buy your camera. But if I buy your camera, every time you make money, I want you to give me half of it. And he's like, okay, deal. Let's do it. We'll be business partners. And let's say Demetrio does terribly and he makes no money. Not saying this will happen, Demetrio. I'm sorry, I keep mispronouncing your name. Correct me next time, Demetrio. And let's say Demetrio is terrible and he makes zero money back, okay? And you're like, oh my gosh, I took a risk on you, Demetrio, and I lost. Now $100 is down the drain because I didn't earn any money back. Or it could be the opposite. Let's say Demetrio turns out to be the best Fortnite player the world has ever seen. He's a bigger streamer than Ninja. He has so much money coming in, okay? And Abril's like, yes, I'm so glad I took this risk. I'm so glad I almost didn't do it. I took a chance on you, okay? And you earned me my money back and more. So basically, taking a risk is like chance. It's like playing a game of chance. You don't know if it's going to work out or not, okay? You're taking a risk. It could be on anything. It could be something crazy, like let's say Victoria loves to skydive. And Jimena's like, girl, you're crazy. You're risking your life because what if your parachute doesn't come out? And Victoria's like, I don't care, okay? I like to play this game of chance. Who knows? Life is short. Whatever, okay? Something dramatic like that. You could take a risk like that. You can take small risks, big risks, risks with money, risks with life, whatever you want to call it. But it is still a game of chance, okay? That's what a risk is. We already went over savings, right? That's when you put money aside. Who wants to remind me what scarce is? Let me pick on somebody. Who hasn't spoken? Let's see. Sophia. Sophia, what is scarce? We talked about scarce. What is scarce? Let's get Sophia Gallardo in here.
Not a lot.
Good, exactly, right. That means that it's something that's not a lot. It's sort of hard to find. Perfect. Who wants to maybe guess what wages is? This one's a little difficult, but you could try.
I thought you said wagers.
Wages. Who wants to guess what wages is? Go ahead, Viviana. Let's hear what you have to say.
I think wages on me like the next level or like or you like putting wages on your like bank account like you.
Okay.
do.
Okay, I see what you're saying. You're kind of close. Yeah, so it has to do with money and stuff like that. It's basically how much you get paid per hour, okay? Or payments you receive for how much work you do. So let's say Abril works for me. She's my assistant and I ask her to take attendance every morning and upload the homework and stuff like that. And I say, and when you're done with work, I'll pay you $10 every day. And the $10 that she gets every day, she would say, that's my wage. Those are my wages. I get $10 a day for helping Miss Gomez, okay? So wages are basically how much you make an hour or payments that you receive for doing work, okay? So those are our words. So for homework tonight, I have it on the slide that I was gonna have you guys do a workbook page, but not everybody has their workbook, so that's fine. So what you're gonna do is you're gonna do a define, example, and ask for each of these words. So each word should have 3 different things. They should have a definition, an example, and a question that you would ask for each word. So I'm expecting 21 things, okay? 3 for each. So 3 times 7 is 21, okay? That's for homework. I have the prompt written up. It'll be uploaded on Teams, and I can go over it towards the end of class. So now we are gonna hit the story. So if you guys can open your books to page 23, we're gonna read our story on a fresh idea. So I will wait for everybody. Demetrio, do you have your book open? It looks like you are typing away. Let's get our books open to page 23. I'm gonna wait a second. Demetrio, do you have your book open? So make sure you open it to page 23.
Yes, it's
Okay.
unmuted.
Okay, anybody else? Everybody else is there? Nobody else is having problems? Okay, let's stop sharing. Okay, guys, so I'm looking at the chat now because I was screen sharing, and thank you, Gianni. If you guys could stop. Had I paid more attention, I would have probably already given strikes to Vicky, Sophia, and probably Jimena. I'm trying to figure out who else. I'm just going through. Probably Abril. So if you guys could stop talking, that would be really great. I don't want to have to tell your parents on you. You guys are 5th graders. So please don't do that anymore. So let's get to the story. So page 22 in your book, please. Okay. And let's read it together. So, one bright Saturday morning, Molly and her mom walked around the neighborhood. That is, her mom walked, but she ran and skipped and jumped over puddles and visited the neighbor's dog. Molly paused to look at the budding trees on her block. I can't wait until summer, she said, especially for Mrs. Fair's great tomatoes at her market stand, she pointed. Does everybody have access to their book? So you guys can read along in your books, okay? So if you want to read along in your book, or you can listen, whichever one is easy for you guys to understand and to like comprehend it, okay? So she said, I can't wait until summer, especially for Mrs. Fair's great tomatoes at her market stand, she pointed. Molly's mom stood looking at the empty lot where the market set up every summer weekend. She looked at Molly. Honey, Mrs. Fair told me last week that she had to close her stand. She's getting too old to run it anymore. Molly turned, stared, and put her hands on her hips. But Mrs. Fair's stand can't close, she said. It's the only place in the neighborhood we can buy fresh, delicious tomatoes, she added to show she wasn't being selfish. Everyone needs fruits and vegetables for a healthy diet. After they got home, Molly headed out to her backyard swing to think. If only I could plant a garden, she thought. But our yard is way too small. Just then, she noticed her neighbor, Mr. Taylor, looking at his daffodils. Molly knew he was thinking about how he had planted those flowers with his wife. This was the first spring since his wife had died, and Molly saw the sadness on his face. So he kind of reminds us of the guy from Up. I don't know if any of you guys have seen Up. Remember when his wife dies and it's really sad and he's really lonely? For those of you who have seen Up, it's really sad. So just imagine that when you're thinking about Mr. Taylor, right? So then Molly, looking at his sad face, she had an idea. She cleared her throat, and Mr. Taylor looked up. She decided to walk over to the fence and talk to him. Hi, Mr. Taylor, she said. He waved and turned away. Wait, she cried, taking a risk, meaning maybe he would shoo her away. While she still felt brave, she rushed to gather her thought. Mr. Taylor, Mrs. Fair isn't doing her tomato stand anymore because she's getting too old. So I'd like to grow tomatoes. I don't want to get in the way of your flowers. But I really like tomatoes. Suddenly, he smiled. Molly, I'm not sure what you're talking about, but you've made me smile. Reasons to smile have been scarce lately, right? Or hard to find. What do you want to do? As Mr. Taylor listened, an idea came to him. I still need a place to plant my flowers, but there is room for tomatoes. How about I make you a loan? So remember, loans might not just be money. He's loaning her land, right? I'll let you use a plot of land in my yard. I'll help you, and when your garden starts to prosper, you can repay me with a few tomatoes. Molly and Mr. Taylor shook hands on the deal. But first, Mr. Taylor said, you'll have to make an investment by buying some tomato plants at the nursery. Molly thought, well, I have some savings for my allowance, and I was saving to buy a computer game. Maybe she was going to buy Roblox. She paused. But I'd rather have my tomatoes, so let's start this today. The next day, she bought all of the tomato plants she could afford, so all of the ones she was able to pay for, right? Mr. Taylor taught her how to prepare the soil and place the plants. Finally, she placed stakes in the ground to help hold the plants up. Mr. Taylor explained, once the tomatoes come, the heavy fruit makes the branches bend. Then all they could do was water, pull weeds, and wait. When the fruit ripened, there were more juicy red tomatoes than even Molly could have imagined. There is no way I can eat all of these, she realized. On Saturday, Molly and Mr. Taylor carried several crates of ripe tomatoes to the market. And by the end of the day, they sold all of their tomatoes.
Sí.
What was that? Nothing? Not only did I get back the money I had already invested, but I made a profit of $20. Mr. Taylor said, there are also your wages. You've earned that money. She beamed and said, Mr. Taylor, maybe you can sell some of your flowers and we can run a market stand together. Mr. Taylor, picturing a garden of zinnias and marigolds, was already looking forward to next summer. Those are flowers. I don't really know if I pronounced them correctly, but those are names of flowers. So, short story, really sweet, really easy, not difficult, okay? So, let's do a quick question. So did everybody understand the story? Sorry, I should probably ask that. Was there anything that you didn't understand? Maybe something weird? Nothing? Okay. Cool. So here's our poor little old man from up. Here's our Mr. Taylor here. And let's talk about his needs, okay? So what was he doing when we met him? So somebody answer that question. When we met his character, what exactly was he doing? Can we remember?
He was looking at his flowers.
Good, yes, good job, Alyssa. So he was looking at his flowers, right, in his garden. And what after that, somebody other than Alyssa now, I want somebody new for each question. What did we learn about his wife after we met his character?
We learned that she passed away.
Good, yeah, who is that?
Julian.
Julian, good, yeah, so she died, right? So he was really sad.
How did she die?
They didn't say how she died. Let's hope not in a terrible way. Maybe she just got a little too old, right? So after learning about that, what could we think? Let's ask. I'm going to ask Demetrio. Demetrio, what did you think about him then? After we met him looking at his flowers, we learned that his wife died. What could we assume about him? What could we think is up with him?
He's very lonely.
Good. What else? Somebody else. Good, Demetrio. He's lonely. What do you usually feel when you're lonely?
Sad.
Sad, right? Who is that? Abril? Yeah, so he was sad and he was really lonely, right? So now we're thinking about that. What do we think he needed then? What did he need? Let's hear from somebody we haven't heard from all day today. So one of my gray screens, either Danny, Eric, Alejandro, Dylan, Vicky, or Nicholas. One of you guys. What did he need? Anybody? I know Sophia talked earlier, but let's hear from one of them. I know they all have mics because it tells me that they do.
He needs company.
Who is that? Who said that?
That was
Yo.
Who?
Jimena.
Jimena. Good. Okay. So he needed company. And he needed to feel happy again, right? That was one of his needs. So, geez. So that was basically what we wanted to infer from that story. So basically what we
What's
learned.
happening with my mouse? I mean, I swear to God, what did you do? Give me my mouse.
Alan. I'm just gonna mute him so he's not. Okay. So basically that was what we wanted to infer, right? That everybody has different needs. So Mr. Taylor had an emotional need, right? He needed company. He needed somebody to sort of help him take his mind off of how lonely he was, even if it was his friend, a new friend, right? His neighbor. The girl, what was her name? Molly? Oh, no.
I think that little kid that was pretty. Forgot. He has an orange suit. I don't know.
Her name was Malia.
Malia. Okay.
Or
Alan, did
Mali.
you have a question?
No.
Oh, okay. Just because we can hear you, and I heard you asking about a kid with an orange suit.
I'm talking to someone else.
Oh, okay. So, if you could just pay attention, Alan. Try not to get too distracted by whoever it is that you're talking to. But yeah, so Malia, right? She needed what her needs were. She needed the tomatoes and she needed a tomato garden. And so they sort of helped each other to find these needs. She sort of was loaned a plot of his land and he took a risk, right? He was like, maybe I'm hoping her tomatoes work out. I'm hoping I'm not giving this girl my land that I could really be placing my flowers in for her to just, not know how to plant tomatoes and do a terrible job. So he took a risk on her and she took a loan of his land, okay? And they helped meet each other's needs. That's sort of the basic takeaway from this story, is that we can each help each other meet different needs, and each of our needs could be different, okay? Some could be physical, emotional, some stuff could be things that you can consume, others can be different, okay? So let's look at what we're going to have for homework. So I had already mentioned it earlier. We were going to have a workbook page, but not everybody has it. So we are going to just have the define, ask example that we sort of started in class. If Office will load for me, that would be great. Okay, here we go. So I have the instructions here. So we're gonna name the book if it's easier. The Reindeer and Squirrel book, okay? In the back of that second book that you have, because you guys have two. The one we used for class today is where you'll find the vocab words, but I guess somebody from 5B said in the other textbook that has like a reindeer and a squirrel on the top, I think it's literature anthology. I guess in the back of that book there is a glossary, and that's where you guys can find the definition for these words. Otherwise, you can just go based off of what we talked about in class, but apparently that's where the definition part is. So what we're gonna do is basically what we did on my slideshow here. Let's go back. You know how we did the define, ask an example? We did that for the word loan. I want you guys to do that for the rest of the vocab words. So we have 6 other vocab words. So I did loan for you. So I defined it. If you have a loan, then your money is being borrowed. An example is Jill went to the bank to ask if she could get a loan for her house. And you can ask, what are things that people usually need a loan to buy other than a house? Maybe a car. Like I would need a loan for school, right? For law school. There's a lot of things. You don't have to answer the question, but it's going to be something like that. And I want you to do that for each of these words. I want you to tell me what the definition is. I want you to give me an example of it in a sentence, and I would like for you to ask a question about it, okay? Does that make sense to everybody? Pretty good? So this is going to be uploaded onto Teams. I also, if you cannot find your definitions in the back of that book with the squirrel on it, I want you, like I said, to do your best to think of the answer in class. If you don't get the correct definition, you're not going to get it wrong if you have to think of it from your head, even if it's not even really close at all. I might be able to cut you some slack because I really just truly do not want you guys to use Google or any internet research. If I suspect that you have the, Webster dictionary version from Google, you're going to get a 0, okay? No more copying and pasting, no more Google. This doesn't require that. You just need your book for this assignment and the class.
I already did all of the definitions and they all are in the big book.
Perfect. Thank you, Miss Carol. See, Miss Carol has already done your research for you and made it that much easier. So you will be able to find the definitions in the back of the book. The only thing that you need to come up in your own imagination is our example and ask. And that shouldn't be too hard once you know exactly what the words mean, okay? Might take a little bit of creativity and imagination, but other than that, it won't be difficult. So for homework tonight, we have this assignment, and then you guys have your social studies letter from the tribe, okay? That one should be a bit more fun. And then once again, please make sure you guys are looking at the spelling words for Friday's test, okay? We will have a test on Friday over your spelling words. So, does anybody have any questions about our homework for today? I'm gonna post it on Teams.
No.
No? Okay, Gianni, go ahead and ask your question, Gianni.
Could you use a regular dictionary?
I would prefer if you didn't. Do you not have a book?
I do.
You do? Okay, yeah. So try to use your book because that'll be the stuff those are the exact answers we're going to probably have on our future tests, okay? If you use
What
a
book are
dictionary-
we gonna use?
I'm sorry?
What book are we gonna use?
Wait, you're going to use both of your books, the Wonders books. They look like this. Well, this is the teacher's edition. So you'll find the words on page, I think it's 20 and 21, right? We went over it in class this whole time. See, this page, 20 and 21, is where you'll find the words. And then in your other book, the big one, the one that has the reindeer and the squirrel in the back of it, Miss Curl did the research for you, and it has the definition for each of those words. So that's where you're going to find
It also has a sentence, but don't use that sentence.
Thank you, Miss Carol. See, I didn't know that. So now I'm going to have since Miss Carol has done the work, she's going to be able to tell me if you guys are copying that sentence for our example part, okay? I don't want you to use the sentence from the book. If I find out that you use that sentence, you're not going to get a single point for that one, okay? Alyssa.
Do we write it on a piece of paper or do we do it on Word?
Whichever is easier. If you know how to upload an assignment, like a picture, and that's what you want to do, if you prefer writing it out, you can do that. That's totally okay. If it's easier for you guys to upload an assignment by typing it and putting it on Word, you can do that too. Whichever way is easier for you guys to upload. As long as you turn in the work, I don't care which way you do it, as long as you do it, okay? Good question, Alyssa. Does anybody else have a question? I don't know who that was. I don't know if Alan has a question or Jimena. Jimena, you have a question? No? I don't know who's asking. No, you do not have to write a picture. I said that when you're doing this assignment, if you want to write it out like on a piece of notebook paper and do it, I don't know why. If you want to, screen share. Sorry, guys. So this is the assignment, okay? And you have to define it, you have to use an example and ask. And don't get the example from the book. Just the definition is fine. You can like write it out on notebook paper. You can do the homework on a piece of notebook paper, okay? And then you can take a picture of it and upload it if you want. Or you can type it out on Word, whichever is easier. That's what I meant. Who else has a question? Viviana.
So like, where do you find the homework for the words?
So
From,
you'll
like,
wait. I'm
the
sorry. What?
vocabulary? Where can you find the words for the vocabulary?
So the vocabulary words should be on page 20 and 21. So I have it here I'll have it here listed, but they're on page 20 and 21 of your textbook that doesn't have the squirrel on it. The one the one we were using today for class.
This one? The
A little book.
The little book,
little
yeah.
book?
For me, they're like almost the same size because I have the teacher's editions. But the little book. Gianni, does that make sense to who asked me? Gianni, and I don't know who Danny is on the phone, but does that make sense? You don't have to write a picture. I was just saying if you want to write out your homework. Does that make sense? If you want to handwrite it? Okay. No, our homework is not just the spelling words and the letter. Well, maybe that's what you mean, but our homework is the letter for social studies, the whole PD letter from our tribe, and the vocab words for English. That's our, and the spelling words. The spelling words is homework every day. That's just to get you prepared for Friday. I just want you to practice. But this is your actual homework, okay? This is due tomorrow. If you don't have it due tomorrow, then I'm not going to accept it. That's also the last thing I wanted to tell you guys. I'm not going to be accepting any more late work unless you have an excuse, okay? A lot of you guys are just not doing your homework, and it's easy stuff. And it's just going to get harder, I'm assuming, from here on out if you're going to continue to not do your homework. If you're doing your homework and you're sailing away, that's fine. But if you're not doing your homework, then I can't do much for you guys. The spelling words, let's share my screen. The spelling words, I think I showed where they were in the beginning of class. Maybe not everybody was here. You're going to open Teams. And you are going to go to our team, Miss Gomez 5A. You have to click on ELA, our English language channel. Okay, you have to click on that first. And then you're going to go to files. And here is a list of our spelling words. There's only 10. They're not too hard. A lot of the UGH, that sound, but that makes the right, tough, laugh, rough, that kind of stuff. That kind of stuff. Haha, that's a word. Okay, so Eric, do you have a question?
Are we about to leave? Can we leave? We don't have any questions.
Well, class technically doesn't end until 12:15, but if people don't have any more questions, then yeah, I guess you guys can go ahead. I just want to say one more thing. If you guys can try, I know like it's exhausting because you come from Miss C, so you guys are having, you guys have a long day. I get it, but I'm trying to figure out how to see you guys. But I would appreciate if you guys were a bit more talkative about class stuff rather than in chat. A lot of you guys are really silent in class when I'm asking you questions, but you're chatting away. And like I said, I get it. It's a long day and it's exhausting, but it's really not fair for only a handful of your classmates to actually be involved, because participation is a grade. And I can see that you guys have mics and that you're just choosing not to participate. So that will be a 0 in your grade, okay? And that's like not a really great way to start off the year. Yes, we are going to be on, I'm pretty sure we're going to be on Zoom tomorrow because I prefer Zoom. Like I said, I can see who has a mic and who has a camera here. It's actually available to me. So I can tell that. So I'm assuming we'll just use Zoom tomorrow as well. So click on the same link. It's going to be the same thing every time, okay? The same link every single day. Same time, 10:30, it starts. Jimena, go ahead.
When are we gonna start like actual school?
So like in-person school, I have no idea. The administration, so basically the big guys, Mr. Chico, all of them, they're gonna have to have a sit down and decide.
Sorry.
I understand if, what'd you say, Demetrio?
Oh, sorry, but Are you guys just asking questions or is this still class?
This is still class.
Okay.
It's questions, but I would prefer if we could all stay. Yes, Jimena. So it's basically all the big bosses. They're sort of gonna sit down and have a talk and figure out when it is that we can go back to school, when it's safe to go back to school. I know it's frustrating doing computers and it's hard to participate and pay attention, but we all got to do the best we can. But good question.
If you look on your school calendars, the push date that they're hoping for is October 3rd. It should be on your school calendars.
Perfect. So yeah, for those of you who don't know how to stay or don't know how to unmute themselves, I guess on here I can request you to unmute. So that shouldn't be a problem moving forward, I guess, when I call on your name. Anybody else have questions? Viviana, I see you have your hand virtually raised. Eric, and then Gianni. No.
When can we leave?
Who asked that?
Me.
Who is me?
Jimena.
Okay, let's get to Eric. Let's see if anybody else has questions. So Eric and Gianni.
Are we gonna have class later today?
No, we are done. So you guys are only with me from 10:30 in the morning until 12:15, and then we're done. We only have 2 classes together. We only have social studies and English together. Gianni, go ahead.
What school calendar was she talking about?
Miss Carol, they were wondering where they can access the school calendar that you mentioned.
Oh shoot, where was it? Ask your parents. It was your school calendar should have been sent to your parents.
Okay. And if you're curious about it, you can email me and maybe we can ask Mr. Chico for you or somebody. Maybe we can get it to you if you can't find it. Okay, Gianni? Okay.
But a copy should have been sent to your parents.
Yeah. See.
Usually the first day of school, you guys get the school calendar, but it should have been sent to your parents. Or maybe it's in your emails.
Eric, do you still have a question? No? Okay. So you guys are good to go. Please do your homework. Have a good day. Any questions, ask me, but you guys are free to leave.